I would now like to introduce our first speaker from the panel. Mr. Lim Chong sits on the expert panel of the Centre of Livable Cities, also known as CLC. CLC is a knowledge center developed by Singapore's Inter-Ministerial Committee on Sustainable Development. He has worked with infrastructural developers such as JTC, a government-linked agency, as well as private sectors such as Singbridge International and Sembawang engineers and constructors. He was also the pioneer deputy CEO of the Sino-Singapore Tianjin Eco-City.
An expert master planner, he was a key member of the planning committees for Suzhou Industrial Park, Chongqing Huilong Industrial Park, Kota Kinabalu Industrial Park, and Tanjong Bonga Township. If anybody knows city planning like the back of his hand, it's Mr. Lim. Let's welcome him on stage.
Good morning to all the young and vibrant students here in Yale-NUS campus. And thanks to all the effort work to this launch. And I'm very honored to speak as a first speaker of this launch. And we have fellow speakers here, as well as Nancy and all the supporting people here. So I see the hope of future with this young and vibrant people participating in the case competition. Now take it as a real exercise. And I'm going to go through a few slides with my some little experience and working through some of the projects, planning some of the projects, and having the advantage of working through some of the projects, to share with you some of the idea. Hopefully this help your preparation of a case. I have a few points. Given the time of 20 minutes allocated to me, I am putting it pretty concise. I'll cover some of this idea about the integrated development, what it calls for, and the stakeholders, as well as the conflicts. And how do we balance the interests, as well as some guiding principle of planning and plan for sustainability. I would present a case, Tianjin Eco-City case, which is I have been involved during the planning stage as well as the implementation stage of the first 3 years. So in all development, integrated development, the most important aspect of it is how do you see the whole cycle. Now integrated development typically call for quite a long cycle. Now starting from the visioning of the and the concept. Now it's pretty difficult to visualize what is going to happen in the next 30 years or 50 years, and any integrated development will take a long time to implement, and it exists even longer time. And most of the city keep renewing itself. So visualizing, visioning a city or integrated development take a bit of guts to a step to move forward to visualize 30 years, 50 years later. Now the next step is to carry out a feasibility study, right? Yeah, it's not going to be very precise, and somebody tell you that this city will bring 200 billions, 500 billions to build a city. Now this is just some number. Now basically you just have to tell yourself that whether or not it's worthwhile to develop. Feasibility doesn't just cover the economic feasibility. It covers many other aspects, which I'm going to share with you later. Now, then the topic about the master planning is the third step. You got to show what is going to happen in this space, in this land, and what are the human activities going to be put together, and what are the environments going to exist, right? these are things that the master planner has to cast a very long-term view because all the development take place and they're going to fix in place for at least 50 years, if not 100 years. Now, the fourth step is about management structure. Very often that any of the development will take many stakeholders, investors to come in place. And how are we going to make it happen? Right? It's not one man who created the city, it's every party. Now, the management structure itself calls for certain coordination, whether it's from government, whether it's from the local residents, whether it's from a developer, investor, and many other people, right, to put together in certain kind of arrangement and organization. Now come down to the financial structure. That's where the pain is. A lot of people say, that's a good idea, how I'm going to finance it. And what is the ROI, what is the ROE, return of equity in terms of investment. And most of the financing structures come with a host of financial debts, loans, equities, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, is everybody would be struggling to find justification for long-term, short-term gain, right? From this kind of development, where this is where most of disputes spark off. Then execution and marketing. How are you going to tell people to come in and let's live in this place, let's invest in this place, let's work together to make this development or these cities vibrant. And later on, after this whole thing settled down, fortunately, if you were able to settle all this thing, it's about implementation, right? Project management. And that is a longer route to take. Any of the integrated project will take minimum 5 years, if not 10 years, 20 years. Frankly, some of the project I was involved is still going through the implementation stage, like Suzhou Industrial Park. And then completion and maintenance. The last two steps sometimes overlap because if you have a very big development, you can't expect to complete everything and then continue to the next phase. Usually there's a lot overlap, and then we talk about startup area, we talk about how do we create the first step, and how do we set up the maintenance, ensure that until you complete the whole project, the first phase become old and malfunction. So that is important things to keep it sustainable. So I hope this cycle looks simple. It may take 20 years, it may take 30 years, and it may take 50 years. Depends on the size of the project. Now come to the stakeholders. I want to make it a little bit more macro, higher level, so that it's easy for you to visualize. All development will impact on some stakeholders. Some of us may be one of the stakeholders. How? It may impact you on the social environment, it may impact you on the physical environment, and it may impact you on the economic environment. Now, very often is if there is some benefits to everyone, then there is not much of a conflict, lesser of conflict. Of course, there are still conflict. It's about more and less. That's okay. It's about have or don't have, have or have not. Then that is a real conflict. Why I say that is when there is any development, it involves land, it involves space, it involves resources, and it involves change of that space, the land, and the social structure. That's where the conflicts will start to take place. The stakeholder will see differently. The stakeholder may see this development is beneficial to me, but the other stakeholders say, no, you are going to displace me. You are going to take away my future potential of what I have today. These conflicts always come in. That's my experience. I was hoping that I can go into a project without such conflict, but often than not that this is going to happen. There will be stakeholders' view. So bear in mind that there will be at least social, physical, and economic environment that have having some conflict. Now, go one more level down, what are the conflicts? And who are the stakeholders that are having this conflict? I divide them into 3 columns as per what I have mentioned just now about the 3 environments. The social environment itself typically will have stakeholders like existing landowners and new landowners. Now, any development would require some of the existing landowners to give away the land to the new landowner. The existing landowner somehow will perceive they sacrifice certain things of the future. And the new owner is coming in to create new set of value, new set of usage. So inherent this will be a certain conflict. How are you going to resolve it? Or at least how are you going to balance it? This is the biggest challenge in most of the development whereby resettlement is involved. And share with you my little experience when I was in Suzhou doing the planning work in 1994. And when we have a meeting at the office, we always hear a lot of noises outside. We thought it's a welcome team that welcome us to there. But the local officials tell us that they are having protests over there, better they don't get out. So immediately I already see the conflicts. The local farmer is going to tell you, no, I'm not going to give away my land. How are you going to compensate me? So the stakeholders straight away come in even before the development starts. Local resident and a migrant worker, that is where you have come to the stage, you start to see that when the development takes place, there were some workers that are coming in. Maybe at the beginning stage already you have migrant workers and local residents having conflicts, some fight for job, some may displace each other, right? That's another round of conflict. Now, government agents and the development agent, often we see that they may be in one line of thought, but very often, in my direct experience, it's not, right? Government agents wanted to have good public amenities, want to implement public amenities to satisfy the social need. Well, development agent will say, no, I'm more interested in real estate. I'm going to have a commercial development to generate return to me. So these conflicts surface, particularly in the greenfield projects. Which will come first? Are you going to build bus interchange first? Or are you going to build school first? Or you build your commercial facility first? Or are you going to build your residential? Now, the typical wisdom is the developer will want to build residential because that is the lower risk development. Whereas the government want to build school, right? And when they come to an integrated development, you're talking about who is going to fund it, what's the priority given, that kind of conflict. Now, this list is not exhaustive. So when you are participating in a competition, perhaps you want to stretch your mind to see what are the potential conflicts in terms of big-scale integrated development. The middle column shows a physical environment conflicts. We human beings always like to have best of both worlds. I want to have a nice environment. I want to keep the water body. I want to keep the sanctuary in place. But at the end of the day, you're talking about give and take, right? The development agents will want to fatten the ground, fill out a pond, and build something that generate commercial value, right? And this struggle also very often happen in many places. Not far away, even in Singapore, when I was doing the Tuas reclamation, there are lobbyists saying that no, we see some coral in Tuas area, so you cannot reclaim the land. Yes. So how are we going to solve it? We have to relocate coral to Sentosa. They have a Sentosa resort for a coral to live there. Okay, these are typical conflicts that come about in all the development. Now, conservation and the urbanization, right? very often, if you are doing a greenfield project, you will see that some of the old buildings you're going to tear down, some of the old cultural space you're going to tear down, and conservation activities are going to tell you, no, please keep our history, please keep our culture. Where the best piece of land usually is that piece of land that create the biggest value. So that urbanization pain is always there. That like in Beijing, you can see that all the hutong has been destroyed, right? In fact, there's a lot of lobby against destroying all the hutong. The hutong is an alley that the old-time alley that allowing a lot of life and neighborhood spirits. Just like in Singapore, we call it kampong or villages. Now, economic environment, right? Those are the conflicts that the stakeholders may be more on the how to balance the job, the local enterprise, whereby they are having their own space. They want to have a proper space, but the foreign enterprise coming in to displace them, right? Small, medium enterprise faced with the challenge of a large enterprise. Traditional economic activities versus the modern new economic activities. This always introduce some change of a job scale, and that also create a lot of conflicts. In due time, I'm going to go a bit faster in terms of the next few slides. Now, balancing interests. I will not have a direct solution for all this thing, but bear in mind that there is no way that you can solve all the problem in one equation. So when it comes to conflicts, basically you are trying to balance the interests, which is a priority. How do you prioritize the needs, right? And but there are underlying requirements that if you can make it happen, perhaps you minimize a lot of conflicts. For example, you plan for sustainability, right? When you're planning for sustainability, you're really talking about how to make the place more efficient, right? Efficiency comes from many aspects, whether energy, whether the time efficiency, whether it's management efficiency, right? You have to stick this into mind. To be sustainable, you must be efficient, just like your car. If your car is not efficient in fuel, your car cannot run too far, right? So you need to keep that in mind. Now, ecology coexistence is very often that when we are talking about development or planning, even if we talk about eco-city, we have to take care of what is the surrounding and environment. We want to keep them as much as possible. To coexist is the key words, right? Not to move them out, not to totally eliminate them. Now, economic ecosystem. You probably, when you do a search on all the eco-city or even new development, some fail, some become a ghost town. Fundamentally, this part is not taken care of. You need an ecosystem. Economic ecosystem is about clustering of the industry activity, business activity together, right? For a space that it become a job creation center. So this is one of the things that you have to consider as well. Now, come to the planning principle, right? This planning principle, basically, I have just now mentioned about a long-term perspective. All planning involves long-term, right? Because a city itself is a dynamic process. It has an economic process, it has an environmental process, and it has the social process, right? If I'm planning a place 20 years ago, for example, in Suzhou Industrial Park, I focus a lot on economic development, job creation. When it comes to a Tianjin Eco-City, we focus more on balancing the social, environment, and economic needs. And probably in the next future generation, you're planning more than, these 4 or 3 aspects. Right? So it's a dynamic process. You will never stop at one point and say that just, a space utilization only. So a city also, you must bear in mind that a city is not just isolated, it's part of the bigger area. just like Singapore, we suffer from haze from our neighboring countries. It's not going to be, just stand alone. And changes, bear in mind, changes may or may not, reversible. The worst thing is it's not reversible. So these are the planning principles you have to embrace. And you can embed all this into it, adopting integrated approach. The word integrated meaning that you have to consider all the aspects that come in certain sequence. Your infrastructures, environment, development, social development, all come in certain sequence. Having flexibility with certainty, right? Very often we are challenged, 20 years later, what's going to happen? While you do not know, the key words is you keep your planning flexible. The bigger direction is fixed, but the path may be flexible. Take a long-term view. Having an open and transparent system, that is important. You've got to engage all the stakeholders. Now, it's a norm, it's a practice to put a plan up for public consultation. There's a norm, there's a way to consult all the public, including some of the small group discussion, big group discussion, expert panel discussion. Why? This is to bring all the common view together and resolve the potential conflicts as much as possible. So you make it transparent. Taking a balanced view towards all this aspect. Just remember social, environment, and economic aspect. Now, I highlight the sustainability because you're going to do a case study on EcoCity. EcoCity is about sustainability. Okay, so you need to find out where are the economic driver, where are the social driver, where are the environmental driver. Basically, it's meeting the needs of all these three aspects. I draw these three diagrams, three bubbles that overlap each other. The key is if you are able to make the overlap, the central portion, a bigger space, then there's a lesser conflict. You're meeting the needs of three aspects, not just one. But very often, it's lopsided. Okay? Depends on who is the biggest stakeholders. Now, I quickly run through the case study, and you can go to the website. There's a lot of talk about Tianjin Eco-City. There's a lot of people writing, giving opinion about Tianjin Eco-City. So I just want to highlight a few things, and then when you search, you keep some basic information in mind. And this is a G2G project, government-to-government project between Singapore and China. This is the second project. The first project was Suzhou Industrial Park. And there could be third projects coming in. Now, the vision of Tianjin Eco-City is about creating a city that's socially harmonious, environmentally friendly, and resource efficient. These few words really kill us when we are implementing it. It's tough. It's not easy to satisfy all. Now, the underpinning concept is the three harmonies: social harmony, economic vibrancy, and environmental sustainability. Naturally, they pull apart. So we are trying to bring them back to the central core. Three abilities. This is added to the Tianjin Eco-City, that you carry a bigger role than just planning an isolated city. You want it to, the planning thinking is to make it replicable, scalable, and practical. That means it can be implemented, right? And the replicability part, I have one slide to show what does it mean replicability, right? Yeah. The important thing is that China has so many cities to build. So there must be certain model that can be adopted, and with suitable modification to a certain local context. The size of this integrated development is not very big, 30 square kilometers. But just give you a sense of what is the meaning of 30 square kilometers. One Toa Payoh, if you are Singaporean or you live here long enough, one Toa Payoh town is, in Singapore, is 4 square kilometers. So this is roughly about maybe seven Toa Payoh town. It's not big, but this is sizable enough. Okay, there will be a residents of 350,000. Now, many of you will ask how many citizens are there from 2008 till now. Today, what I know is there are 30,000 residents living in. Not a lot. We are just about 10% of the capacity. It creates jobs of 110,000 and a home of 110,000 home and a job of 210,000. And the most important thing is about the KPI. It set a certain KPI, which is I say already is a tough target to meet. Okay, I won't want to go too much detail. You can research into this. But I just want to highlight that even when it comes to the site selection, the conflicts come in already. Now, the China official criteria for us is make sure that we select a site that is non-arable. That means a non-agricultural land, and it cannot be used for farming. That's why we selected the salt pan, the wasteland. And then it has to face water shortage. This is a very tough environment to build eco-city, isn't it? We should have selected a place that with a very nice nature environment and just build something on it. Now, the developer, who are the developers? Actually, Capital Land as the lead consortium, and plus the China consortium called TEDA, right? Selected, their selection criteria is basically to ensure that there's a proximity to the central city. And it must be some vibrant economy nearby. Because you have an inherent weakness already, you must have something to balance back. So you can see that how do we balance these two development needs. And at the planning stage, it takes a lot of effort to cover. The master plan is not one piece of paper. It's one whole stack of document. It covers all these aspects. Indeed, it's quite a tough job to have three planners that get together. The planners come from URA, Singapore. The planner come from China Planning Institute, and the other is from Tianjin Planning Institute. The three planners get together to make this plan out, right? And cover all these aspects. I think the competition team may not be able to cover all, but take the cue of this. So this is the concept plan, right? You just have to divide the area into several phases and maintaining the green network, water network, and major users. So this is what we call replicability. Each of the core present a cell, right, a bigger cell. And you drill down to a neighborhood. That is how the neighborhood is made up. A 400 by 400 meter cell that group together, four equal cells become one neighborhood. 4 neighborhoods become one district, right? This is a fundamental concept. Whether how it works. Why is 400 meter by 400 meter? Basically is scale to the human capability. Human being walk 400 meter without problem. So 400 by 400 meter is the basic module. I mean, if we ask ourselves if we can walk 800 meters, then that will be the basic module. So 400 meter was decided to be the basic module, the 400 meter by 400 meter, by and large. Therefore, it replicates out. And you can replicate to many other places because human beings typically walk 400 meters with comfort. And this 22 KPI, right, there are a lot of numbers in it. The basic question is is our eco-city is going to be just technology-driven, right? And today, there are school of thought that the eco-city must come with a lot of technology and technical solution. But to me, it is not. This is one set of a KPI. It involves also social, it involves also environmental. And then there are also several non-quantitative KPI. This is challenging to ensure that you can maintain safe and healthy ecology, to promote regional collaboration, to improve environment, to preserve history and cultural heritage, to promote orderly development, right? Which also means that over here, I already highlighted a lot of conflicts and how are you going to make it orderly. So this becomes one of the KPI. Now, I'm going to end my speech on this, that this is after 7 years of development. The project started 2008. Tianjin Eco-City project started 2008. The groundbreaking is in 28th of September. And today, this is what has been developed. So in terms of hardware, it has achieved certain things, including renewable energy, the nature parks, business park, residential and neighborhood development, infrastructures. Right. In terms of software, there's a lot of efforts to bring in jobs, industry, and also the residents. Right. The whole idea is have a work, live, play in a place. And once you have a work, live, play in a place, your city become very efficient. Okay? So I just summarized that with a few words. Today's master plans must widen the perspective to harmonize all the stakeholders by considering the tangibles of making sustainable use of scarce resources. So with that, I will leave some thought behind for you to consider how you're going to think about your future eco-city. Thank you.